Welcome back to Conversations. I'm Robin Farr, and we're talking with April Rivero. She has headed up the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse. This is in response to her son Joey's death just last December, just from taking one pill too many or a mixture of drug and alcohol, and he's gone. And yet April is here to prevent this from happening to anybody else. So I continue to thank you again for, you know, because it can't be easy for you to do this, and yet I know how important it is for you to do it.
That's true.
Let's talk about the doctor that maybe even didn't prescribe, just gave the pills, it seems, almost to Joey, and had done this with several others. What's the update on this dirty doctor? And I will use that term.
Well, I will too. And she did give him prescriptions. Joey had legitimate, quote-unquote, prescriptions when he left her office. He was directed, by the way, to go to a specific pharmacy. That pharmacy is also under investigation. We haven't really talked about that. So, more to follow on that one. Yeah. But the dirty doctor down in Southern California, so keep in mind, Joey was in Arizona. He and two other students from that school traveled 6 hours to this particular doctor because it was understood that she would be very freely helpful with prescriptions. One of the students that Joey went with already had the trip planned, along with another one that Joey happened to be friends with. And he just kind of got sucked in at the very last minute the night before they left. He didn't know about it, but happened to be sitting around Mill Street where a lot of the kids hang out and learned about it. And somehow he got enticed into going on this road trip. So 3 or 4 hours later, he's in the car, they're driving there, and they meet up with this doctor. So she basically prescribed for Joey with a very minimal examination of any sort. She gave him an x-ray which showed nothing, but apart from that, there's, I'm sure, not going to be any evidence of any further medical examination. He walked out of there with 90 oxycodone, the painkiller, 30 milligram strength, which you don't normally start at. It's much less than that. So something to get you kicked off pretty quickly in terms of painkillers. He walked out of there with 90 Somas, which is a muscle relaxant, also very potent, and he had 30 Xanax. So in the day, based on what she prescribed him, a 30-day round of medication, he should have been taking 3 oxycodone, 3 Somas, and 1 Xanax. And how in the world anybody at his level, having not done this stuff.
And for what? What was the diagnosis that he had?
He had an old football injury that he had pain from. He had muscle issues, and he couldn't sleep. He was anxious. I don't know. Those are the things I've been told he probably said. But bottom line, not a problem. She gave him what he walked out of there with, and he went to the pharmacy he had been directed to see. He filled the prescriptions, gave half of the prescriptions that of the oxycodone, he gave half of that prescription to the boy that was the connector to the doctor. So he was off and running, either using or selling them himself.
Okay, as in payment for,
yeah, for the introduction to the doctor, because once that first introduction, he's now a patient of the doctor, and it's a 30-day cycle. Every 30 days or more, even more often than that. If you get lucky, you can go back there and get more.
Oh, goodness
gracious. So that's what's happening out there. And
so there have been articles now because, I mean, you see Joey's face in the Chicago Tribune or something like this. Okay, so something has come down. They have, are they investigating her now?
Oh yeah, they had been investigating her for 3 years, and the DEA had been working with all sorts of other governmental agencies, and that included the medical board to investigate this doctor. So on the 25th of August, I got a call to let me know, finally, 8 months after this happened to us, the doctor's office was being raided that day. They were in process.
Raided meaning, do they give notice, or do they just come storming in and start looking for the drugs?
Yeah, and well, what they do, they don't look for the drugs. They come in and they basically confiscate all the medical records for all of our patients, and that will then allow them to do further investigation to, connect the dots and find out what else she was doing that they didn't even know about. So they took her records, they removed her license that allows her to prescribe the harmful drugs, the Schedules 2 through 4. Narcotics, basically. So basically she's allowed then beyond that to go ahead and practice, but she can only prescribe not painkillers, I'm sorry, it would be antibiotics and non-harmful addictive drugs. So her office was left intact. She's allowed to continue practicing, but she cannot do the dirty things that she's been doing. 2 or 3 days following that, the Osteopathic Medical Board announced that they were taking steps to revoke her medical license, which is the hugely important thing, the next step. So once that happens, she will not be able to practice.
goodness.
There will be hearings. She can call, she has an opportunity to defend herself, so she'll have an opportunity for hearings in both the DEA's case and the medical board's case. But
what do you hear?
I find it surprising.
What is she saying? I mean, now that it's out, and of course we don't have all the public information on her response, but from what you can gather, is she feeling terrible for having done this, or no?
No, in fact, there is really a good clue about it. I don't get personal information other than through the reporter who did put the article together, and then just reading the articles themselves. But basically, his interview with her, literally in the parking lot as the raid was happening. She just indicated that it was not her fault. She never intended to kill anybody. It's really the patient's and the parents' fault. She indicated that she had been called almost daily by parents asking her, begging her not to prescribe medication to their children because they were addicted, and she said, I would just tell them that's their problem, it's not my fault.
Oh,
I can't be held responsible, she said, if
that
somebody decides.
Oath? I mean,
I know.
She's just
if they
not a
take
doctor.
30 days medication in one day, that's their problem. It's not my problem. So
goodness.
she seems to be, at this point, very cavalier. Actually, she's not talking anymore. I think the council has
I'm sure,
suggested that not happen beyond this, but her initial input was really disgusting and
no
just
remorse.
kind of, none at all.
Oh, that's just awful.
Didn't
well, at
seem to get
least
it.
the good news is that they're on to her now.
Absolutely.
And
well, they have
yes.
been. They just needed to prove their case and have enough evidence to move forward with.
Now, you're
and they've
telling
taken
me,
that action.
what, 18? She may be responsible for 18?
Yeah, the papers are saying that, but I've been told that it may be as many as 18, and actually they expect the numbers to grow higher as they start to, again, kind of connect the dots as they look at the medical records. Because what's happening is she had given medication prescriptions to individuals who then went off and sold it. And then those individuals who bought it from that middle person have died, or they have otherwise been impacted. So there's just this ugly chain of impact that they'll have to work, I'm sure, months to unravel.
Well, and I just cannot believe for a minute that she did not understand the impact of
If she didn't, she shouldn't be a doctor anyway, because you need to understand this stuff. I do believe, I'm absolutely sure that they will be prosecuting her criminally too. The feds are very good, as you know, about building their case, and so they're going to do their due diligence, and I do believe that they will pull her in for that too.
Well, that is
just
good
a matter
news.
of time. Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, this is, and she's just one of, I don't know how many. That's the problem. But
that
at
is
least,
a big problem.
Yeah.
I'm hearing there's a lot of them in Southern California in particular, just droves of them, in fact, and it's a very scary thing.
Let's talk now about the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse. This is the coalition that you began. Tell us how that's going. You're on Facebook. I mean, this has really become this is what you do.
It is. I actually have a part-time job, and I'm thinking I may have to quit it. This has become, every day, it seems to mushroom and grow that much bigger. On a national level, we're connected with organizations that, one in particular, CLAAD, C-L-A-A-D, that has done an amazing job of looking at every aspect of prescription drug abuse, because it's not just all about who buys them or the dirty doctor. There are many different facets to the whole issue. And so they've done a great job of preparing a document that looks at all those individual areas, and they've actually made recommendations that they would like to see implemented. So bottom line is we're working with them. We're going to, in fact, tomorrow be looking at specific ones and trying to put a game plan together to actually do something through legislation or whatever else we think will help in those areas. Some of it's education, some of it, though, is going to take law changing to help. So on a national basis, I'm connecting with parents, I'm connecting with other organizations. Our goal is to have our organization be an umbrella of sorts that all these different grassroots organizations can come into, so that we can be a larger voice and have a larger impact on legislation and anything else out there.
Does it surprise you that it took you to have to do this? I mean, this just seems like such a huge problem, and you started this?
I started it here. I will tell you, there are a lot of other grassroots organizations, but I think the vision we have that's not something we've seen before is having this umbrella, you know, so that these various small organizations that were typically started by parents like I who lost their children can come together and be a larger voice, and we can share best practices. What worked in your area? Let's test it here, that kind of thing. When it comes to suggesting something to the ONDCP that sets our drug policy, we can come together as a unit instead of individually pot-shotting this. So I think it's going to be much more more effective overall. So we're doing our own thing locally, but we're also trying to build this connection on a national level.
Right, and that's the National Coalition. There's something that is going on nationally. It's the National Take Back Initiative. Locally, well, it's actually across the country. It's happening on September 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tell us about this and where our local Take Back Initiative is going to be held.
Yes, I'm really pleased to see that San Ramon is taking an active role in supporting this initiative. So at the San Ramon Regional Hospital, there will be basically just a drive-by, kind of a big barrel. I don't know what it's going to look like, but there's going to be a drive-by opportunity. So you're supposed to just pull everything out of your medicine cabinets that's been sitting there, not used, it's expired, you don't need it. Take it and drop it off, so there's absolutely no harm that can be done to these kids that are raiding these cabinets and coming together in these skittle parties and farm parties that we hear about. So that is the location, but if they go onto the DEA.gov website, anybody in the Bay Area can actually go in and put their zip code in, and it'll give them the drop-off location that's closest to them.
Okay.
But for our area, probably San Ramon will be the closest one. I think otherwise there's one in Oakland and maybe San Leandro or something. So.
Well, the other nice thing about it, too, is not just getting it out of the hands of our children, but it is disposing of it properly.
That's right.
You know, we really don't want this kind of stuff going into our oceans or into our landfills or anything else like that. We really, these people will take care of it.
That's right, and our organization is going to have representation there to pass out as people drop off their drugs. We plan to pass out information to encourage them to continue doing this on a routine basis, not just, you know, on a national single day, and to also understand how they can dispose of this stuff properly if they can't get to a drop-off center. So
we just have a couple of minutes left. There's a video contest that's kind of launching. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we talked a little bit about the national initiatives, but locally we're doing a lot, working with some of the other organizations and agencies in this area to put educational programs together to get out into the schools and do our assemblies and whatever else. So one of the things that our organization is going to be doing, and we're starting it now, is a video contest. So we're encouraging kids between the ages of 12 and 17 to put a short video together and present it to us for judging. The top 5 videos will get prizes, of course. And we would love to have prizes, so if anybody out there has something they'd like to give, that kids would love, that would be great. But bottom line is it's going to be about prescription drug abuse. So they're going to be used as PSAs, public service announcements. They'll be used in schools, they'll be put up on our website, and it's going to give kids an opportunity to do the research they need and to learn about this issue, to put the video together. And then of course we're going to have online judging, so people will be directed to our website so they can actually view them, learn about the subject, and then vote on the top 5.
And that will be spoken in December.
We're going to have they're going to be due by December 31st, and then we will have a judging panel that will look at, you know, the 100 or so we get, and then we'll decide in the end which 5 will be posted on the website, and then online voting will happen.
Well, see, everybody can get involved in this, and I mean, I think that's what it's going to take, is more and more education. This is April Rivero, National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse. Check out her website because you can find all of this information on there, www.ncapda.org, and the phone number over there, 925-480-7723. April, thank you again for coming on the show and giving us this update. There's a lot of good news coming out of this.
There is.
Happy to hear it.
We'll have more in the future, so we'll see you again.
Thank you. And that'll do it for Conversations this week. We'll do it again next week. Until then, I'm Robin Farr. Have a wonderful day. If you'd like to order a copy of this show, please visit our website at trivalleytv.org.